Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday, 9 p.m. Straight from Sudbury, Canada, we have our dear, good friend,
MC.
Ta-da! I'm here, partner.
Straight from Canada and straight from BH. Oh, so MC, I don't know about the fellas watching us live tonight, but I had the greatest amount of laughs that I have had in a while with your video. It was
Oh,
so much
really?
fun. It was so much fun, and the funny thing is, I had already heard those stories. You had already told me those stories, and still, I had so much fun and I laughed so hard. Uh, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I am referring to this week's video that we uploaded on Monday, and it's on YouTube. The full video is on YouTube and Facebook. And if you guys want to check it out, MC shared 7 of her most embarrassing, funny stories in the workplace or in the academic world when she was in college, and they were all really funny. And she's a good sport, so she shared the stories, even though they were quite, embarrassing. For most of us, we would have just dug a hole probably in the middle of the classroom or or the office to get out of the situation.
So I'm glad you had a blast in seeing the video. I enjoyed doing the video as well. And most of those stories. So I realized not all the stories I shared with the same people. So at least some of the stories were quite a surprise for a few people. So that already heard me talk about that like a million times. So which was interesting, and everybody had a big laugh. So that was good.
Yeah.
Good feedback. So if you haven't checked this one out, if I were you, I would.
Yeah, exactly. Check it out. It's on YouTube and Facebook, the full video, because we still can't upload videos longer than 10 minutes here on IGTV, but hopefully very soon we will be able to. So the idea of the live today is to deepen into the conversation of mistakes. They are part of life, and very often we have a hard time dealing with mistakes, especially if it's in situations like the one that MC went through. First of all, MC, I want to ask you a question. So you shared the video that we were talking about. You shared stories at work or in school, and I want to know: would you have felt as embarrassed if you had been in the position of a tourist?
Um, no, not at all. So it's different, right? When you are a tourist, people already treat you differently. They expect you to make mistakes, and they know that probably you're going to struggle a little bit with language, and there's not a lot of judgments around. However, in the workplace, usually what we do is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We don't want to make mistakes because we want to be perceived as great professionals as we are in Brazil. So we don't want us to be treated any differently. And that causes a lot of embarrassment and a lot of added on pressure in the whole situation. So no, if I was, so for example, I guess only one of the stories, I was actually a tourist, right? It was the San Francisco one, the Presidio one.
Oh yeah.
And that one was okay, like who cares, whatever. But the others in the workplace, for example, the hooker mistake and the doubt in the middle of the meeting when a person was really like affected by what I said, well, and the winner as well in front of 200 people. So that's embarrassing at a point that you feel that people might judge you or think less of you just because you made those mistakes. I know that's not 100% true, but that's usually how it affects our confidence, and we don't want that in the workplace.
Sure. Okay, so I want to tell you guys my opinion about the MC stories and the whole situation of making mistakes and saying something that you don't really mean, saying something differently from what you're actually, what you have in your head, in your mind. To those of us who have the opportunity to study abroad or to live abroad, ask for feedback. MC is very talented at that. She is very open to feedback and to even to criticism. She doesn't embarrass easy, as she said in the video. She takes criticism and feedback very well. So ask for feedback, but don't expect it. Feedback is not something that everyone is willing to give. You know how sometimes someone is walking by you and they have something like lettuce in their between their teeth, or a tag sticking out, or the shirt is inside out, and you know it, but you feel so embarrassed to come up to the person and say, you know what, your shirt is inside out, your tag is sticking out. You just don't say it, and you're like, it's more embarrassing for me than for the person, so just let her be. I think that's kind of how people feel when they have to tell you, like, you said wiener, it's not hooker, mistake. So you also feel embarrassed when you give the feedback. So a lot of people are not willing. I don't know if you agree with me, but a lot of people are not willing to give that feedback.
I do. They don't feel comfortable doing that, and I called some of them out because I'm like, okay, we're close enough, so you can give me that feedback. How come you let me embarrass myself in front of the whole meeting or something like that? But they're like, well, no, everybody will understand. Your message in the end was clear or something like that. So it's hard for you to rely on others to make that progress. So yes, don't count on that, because they feel that they're gonna make you feel bad instead of helping you out. So and even when you ask, they tend to not give you feedback. So that's just what it is.
It's not something you can just rely on, right? Number 2, pay attention to the signs. That is something that MC mentioned in one of our lives. She mentioned how when you make a mistake, a pronunciation mistake, you will get some kind of sign from the other person. Whether it's, come again, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't understand, could you say that again? Some kind of question or interruption like that. Or something else, like the person responded something different from what you asked, or they reacted in a way that you didn't expect or you didn't realize. So this is a sign for you to think about, wait, what did I say? What words, what sentences, what was said right now in these last 2 or 3 sentences that may have caused this kind of trouble. So that's something that you can do, and then you can correct yourself at the spot, because that's the worst moment. It's like the worst case scenario. You messed up. You made a mistake. You said something weird. You said something wrong. You said something with a different connotation. So that's the worst thing that could happen. Fine, it already happened. So use that emotion, that tension of the moment to correct yourself. So when you get the right way to say it, oh wait, did I say this? Wait, repeat the sentence, and oh, okay, you mean this. So get that word and say it again to yourself. Yes, I mean that. Repeat 1 time, 2 times. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. So let me say that again. Arara, arara. And you say the word 2 or 3 times until you actually master it. It's going to take 5 seconds, 3 seconds to do it, but you won't forget it. If you just, yes, 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 you're not going to learn, and you're not going to grow from that mistake. So it's a tip that I would give you, because you can use the tension of that moment to actually make something ingrained in your brain.
Great. And yes, so that's a great tip as well. And remember that we were having a conversation that I was surprised how a lot of people are in my situation, right? Living abroad or studying abroad or doing something like that. And now when I was reaching out to them, like, where are the stories? Come on, am I the only one embarrassing myself out there? I doubt it. And then they're like, oh, I don't remember, or I haven't done anything that I recall or something like that. And I'm like, But then I realized, well, they might not even be aware of the mistakes that they're having. So that tip that Renata just gave to us, it's really important, because if we don't pay attention at the feedback, like informal feedback, body language or something like that, so that's something for us to realize, pay attention, and everything else.
Yeah, sure. There is something that still speaking about that correction thing, that when I'm teaching a student and the person doesn't remember the word or needs help remembering the word, and they describe, and then you say like, oh, this. It can be something in the classroom or in real life, living or studying abroad. So it's important for us to realize to think of that. You know, it's not just something that happens when you're living abroad. It happens in the classroom too when you're studying English. So if you don't know a word, if you don't remember, and someone gives you that word, we are sometimes so anxious about telling the story or finishing whatever we were saying, that we just say yes, 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 that's it. So this yes, 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 yes won't teach you anything, anything. So it's not yes, yes, yes. Say the word, oh, yes, and then you say the word one time, repeat the sentence, and move on. So what I mean is active learning is what teaches you. So being active about your own learning process of whether you do like MC did, you listen and you understand the mistake and you make a point of correcting it. Because everything that we do wrong or we say wrong will make a difference, even if it's something this little, if it's one word that you're pronouncing wrong, but it will make a difference. So the more you listen to feedback and grow and fix and construct on top of what you already have, the better it is for you. Let's get started because we have stories to share tonight. We asked on our Instagram stories, we asked you guys to tell us about embarrassing, funny stories that you guys, lived. And we have some interesting stories to share, and plus more stories from MC.
Yay! Yeah, we have bonus track because I wouldn't give away just all my stories all at once in one video. Yes, I embarrass myself way more than you may think. Okay, so should I start with the peach incident?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was again not too long ago, maybe like later last year. I was in a meeting with a group here in Sudbury, and then I was trying to convince someone that some ideas were valuable enough, and I was like, okay, so we should pitch that idea to the leadership, and then after we pitch the idea to the leadership, then we can move forward with the plan and la 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 and so on. And then after saying peach for about like 20 times, because I want to reinforce the message and make sure everybody understood me.
Let's peach it, guys. Let's peach it.
Let's peach it.
Please.
Yeah, somebody gave up because so what happens is people usually struggle. They try to listen to you. They don't want to ask questions all the time. So they're like, okay, let me try to get the context, what she's saying, what she's talking about. But then I cornered them in a way that if they don't understand what the peach idea to the leadership means, they wouldn't understand my ask. So in the end, they had to give up and ask me like, Maria, just a second here. Can we pause for a bit? Like when you say peach to the leadership, I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, well, peach, the P-I-T-C-H word. And they're like, oh, pitch. Okay. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I know what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm emphasizing, or the word that is supposed to be like that short is like long. And then if it's long, it's like the winner. It's gonna
Exactly.
mean something else.
It's the same problem. It's the same difficulty that you had with winner and wiener. You gotta watch the video to know what I'm talking about. And it was the pitch and peach. And we got more than one person sent us a story with the common beach versus bitch. So one of the stories that was sent to us was also in the workplace. And the person was, when you're having small talk and you're not really talking about work, you just want to, let's say, socially interact with your coworkers. And then she was like, oh, so Brazil has many beautiful beaches. And then she realized that everyone was like, you know, like so it was like, yeah, okay. And then she realized, oh, wait, what did I do wrong? It was like the hooker, 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 hooker.
Yeah.
Oh, bitch, beach, beach, bitch. So instead of saying beach, she said bitch. So
Mm.
it's embarrassing. The problem with the long sound or the short sound is something that we have to pay attention to. I brought some examples here just for us to work a little bit on that. The verb live and leave was also mentioned by one of our followers asking us to talk a little bit about it. And I want you guys to, if you want us to talk about this kind of pronunciation issue, bitch versus beach, what was it? Peach versus pitch, winner versus wiener. We can make a live class or a whole video about it. Just leave it in the comments, on the feed, or here in the live. So live and leave are two verbs. If I say I live in Brazil, she lives in Brazil. She's a resident of Brazil. And she leaves work at 7. So I have, she lives in Brazil. She lives, live. And she leaves work, leaves, leaves. The sound is very different for a native speaker, for a fluent speaker. So we really need to work on the short and the long. The short sound, just quickly to help you guys to pronounce it well. It's like you say E, but your lips work like E. So you go E, live, live, win, live, pitch. It's not P. It's not P. It's pitch, live. Try to make that exercise. Look in the mirror how when you say you open your lips a little more, and E. See that your chin is more closed. Like E and E, There is a difference in the way you open your lips. But when you say the sound E, it's also different the way you position your tongue. So if you try to combine both together, it works very well. So you go pitch, 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 not P, P. It's in the middle. It's between one and the other. Well, we can have a full class if you guys want it. I think it's really important. But let us know, because what we think is important may not be. So let us know. We want your feedback, your collaboration, your requests, and we want to do the best we can for you guys. All right, MC, now I want to hear your second story.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Okay, I'm going to share this one. So let's go for bonus track again. Me embarrassing myself as always. Okay, so that time I was in London and I was a tourist. Okay, so this was not in the workplace, in a workplace situation. And I remember I needed to figure out how to get to my friend's place. And then I was like, okay, I took a look at the bus stops, and I needed to go to one specific place. And by the time I entered in a bus, I asked the driver just to confirm, hey driver, is this going to Islington Green? So for you who has not been to England or London or don't know what I'm talking about, so this is pretty much ISL, and as I learned so much in school when I was a kid learning English, that sound is similar to island. So I'm like, okay, if I have ISL, I'm not going to pronounce the S. It's a silent S. So your English teacher, probably when you learn English at some point in your life, said to you a million times, island is pronounced without the S. So I learned. I'm a great student. So I learned. And then I was like, okay, I need to
You
go
did your
to,
homework.
I did my homework, baby. And then I was like, okay, I need to go to Islington Green. And you know that face when the person knows what you're trying to say, but then they want to have a big laugh at your face. So they're looking very ironically, sarcastically at you, like, come again? And I don't know how to do the British accent. So
I don't quite get it.
Yeah.
Could you say that again?
That's perfect, by the way. And then I was like, okay, Islington Green, because when I'm pretty confident. When I know something, and I'm sticking to it to the end. So I'm like, Islington Green.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't that loud enough? Because that's what's happened, right? When somebody asks you to come again or something,
you just get louder or something like that. And then I was like, okay, Islington Green. And then for like the 10th time, the bus driver said, oh, it's actually Islington Green. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, fine. I guess it's English. English is supposed to be easy. How come
Yeah.
there's not a standard rule? Like ISL is like silent S.
Yeah.
F off.
That is tough. And I think the lesson that we get from this story is never assume, especially with names, all right? I got to say that, okay, maybe that's like 1% of the exception, like that, but especially with names. Names can have all kinds of spelling and all kinds of pronunciation, so don't assume you know the pronunciation just because, you know the rule. Check it out. It's so easy and simple. I have already talked about a dictionary that I like a lot, the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. It's online. There is a website. You can just save the website to your phone. It will work like an app. And you check it. They have the pronunciation that you can read if you know how to read the phonetic symbols, or you can just press a little button there and hear the American or the British pronunciation. So it's like it takes 3 seconds for you to know whether or not you're saying something right. It's very easy and simple. I think we should never assume, especially with names, so we don't go through situations like that. But besides that, there is someone shared a story with us, and I think it's related to what you said. Big mistakes. It's related to what you said. The person was also in London. She was in England, and she was walking down the streets, and she asked someone, "Hey, excuse me. Hey, excuse me. Hi. Hey, excuse me. Can you tell me where's the subway?" And the person was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try my best British accent right now. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Excuse me, the subway. Where can I find the subway? You know where the subway is? The subway. Then get louder. And then she was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry now. I'm sorry, I don't understand. And then she was like, the subway, the subway. And, oh, you mean the tube.
Yeah, so that happens apparently. You're supposed
So
to.
the person was like, subway is not a word we use here. Did she understand? I am pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure she knows what the subway is. Maybe not. Maybe she doesn't. But I mean, sometimes, like you felt with the bus guy, people are not that open or that willing to understand you. Not everyone is that nice. Not everyone is that open to foreigners speaking their language and patient for that kind of situation. Even though that story of the subway, it wasn't a mistake at all. Subway is a word used in American English more often. So it wasn't a mistake, but it was something cultural. So we have to keep that in mind. People are not always willing to be nice to you. So the more you don't need to rely on people's openness and willingness to forgive and forget, the better.
And Carol said that she struggles to pronounce her name in a way that people can easily understand. Carolina.
We had that discussion, right, MC, about how to introduce yourself. We're going to make a video about that.
That's good.
That's a delicate situation. We need to have more time to discuss that.
So that was a work environment as well, but by the time I was working in shifts, so I was studying in College of Charleston, and I was taking some shifts just to get more money. And I was allowed to work like 20 hours a week, and I was a barista for some shifts in one coffee shop. So by that time, it was 2008, we didn't have the fancy printed orders that you just stick to the cup and then the barista can create your coffee and then deliver it to you. So we received the cup, get the order, and just mark with an X what the order was. And
so it wasn't the name thing. It was like you sending the person who was gonna make the coffee.
Yeah, so
the order.
So I was the cashier, so I was supposed to get the order get the cup, write whatever the person wants, and then move that to the other person who would actually make the coffee. And then when a person wants whipped cream, the problem is there's no box so you can check saying that person wants whipped cream. So I was always hoping that nobody in my shift would ask for whipped cream. But that doesn't happen every time. So what I did was, okay, I just need to tell her that that person wants whipped cream. So I could have just wrote like WC or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I tried to actually write it. And I had no idea how to spell whipped cream. So what I did was like, okay, WEEPED or something very off. Like
Whipped cream.
I was out to lunch.
Whipped cream.
That's another expression that then we can teach you later. But I was totally out to lunch. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, well, I assumed that the person that was my coworker would understand my attempt to say or to write whipped cream. What she did was pretty much the subway lady, the bus driver. So everything was pretty much clear in a way. And then she was like, okay, what did you write here? And I'm like, oh, whipped cream. And instead of like letting it go and giving me a feedback later or teaching me how to spell that properly later, she kept asking like, what, come again, and something like that. And I'm like, whipped cream. And then she was like, that's not how you spell it. And I'm like,
well, I can tell. After
hashtag
you've asked me
sorry,
5
not sorry.
times, I think I wrote it wrong. Thanks for the feedback.
I know. But anyway, some people, they just want to play around with your misery for a little bit. And that happens. And, well, for me, in my case, I have now good stories to share with you. But anyway, she wanted to make a very clear point that you are so dumb, you don't know how to spell whipped cream, which I think, by the way, is a very hard word and expression, okay? Just to
It is.
make it clear to everyone here.
It is, actually. It's hard to spell. It's got a lot of like silent stuff there, double P, WH, etc. So before I move on, I saw that Carol also asked me to spell out the T, spell out my stories. I have a problem, which is the memory of a fish when it comes to stories like that happened to me. You know, I just can't remember any stories. I will try my best to remember a couple, but the embarrassing story that I have is every time that I have to, not every time, I think I mentioned that in another video, but I have in the past been through situations where I needed to speak very good English, like flawless. I couldn't make any mistakes, you know, like a super serious presentation in front of like coordinators and directors and stuff. And I would, not during the presentation, but like during the small talk, I would get nervous because I was speaking to someone who was superior to me, you know, had like a higher position. So I was like, what did I say, man? Jeez, that preposition. Oh God, I can't believe I said that. So in my head, I was like, you know.
I bet she said they is or something like that, or he are.
Yeah, like exactly, like agreement, plural, singular, and preposition, something that, you know, that was like, oh, I can't believe I said that. But anyway, that happens to all of us.
Do we have time for one more story before the 4 sentences?
Yeah, we do actually. We have story number 4.
Mine?
Can you contribute with another story?
Oh man, okay. Okay. So this one was like from last Friday, just so you know, last Friday. And you may say, oh, Maria, your English is fine. Yes, I think so too. But anyway, I make those kinds of mistakes and it's fine. I deal with that. And on Friday, I was in front of like 50 people explaining one content, and I needed everyone's attention and so on, and I can be very energetic. And I was talking a lot, and then I have one person that I bug her so much because I ask her all the time, provide me feedback if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm saying something wrong. So what she did was she wrote down a piece of paper like the word contributing, and that was the way I was pronouncing it. And she said, okay, spell that for me. Or not spell that, say that for me. And I was like, contributing, duh. And she's like, no. And I was like, well, how is it? Because I'm 32. It's been 32 years or something like that I'm saying this stupid word like that. And then I was like, okay, contributing. And I'm like, well, Renata, let's have a conversation here. If we have a noun that is contribution, how come we have verb in a different way, like contributing or something like that? That's not fair.
It's the gods of English. They chose it. They chose and they sent the rule upon us. They said, there will be rules, but there will be exceptions. And then we just have to go along, play along.
So hey, folks who are here with us, well, isn't it so much easier if you were contributing instead of contributing? But anyway, exactly. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but okay.
It would be easier. So I brought a couple of examples here of nouns and verbs, or adjectives and verbs that have different pronunciations. One that a lot of people get wrong is graduate and graduate. The verb is to graduate. You have a stress in the first syllable, yes, but the third one is spelled A. So we say he's going to graduate. He graduated. He has graduated. But if he is graduating, that means he is a graduate. A college graduate, a high school graduate. So the stress in the first syllable is very strong, and the last syllable is pronounced like chocolate. We don't say chocolate, we say chocolate. So that short syllable is the same for graduate. So I'm going to say, he is a college graduate. He's going to graduate next week. He's a college graduate. He's going to graduate next week. So the stress is different. The same thing happens with estimate and estimate. An estimate, something you get when you want a service done, someone gives you the price beforehand, that's an estimate. So it's the same thing. Stress on the first syllable, the last syllable is short, estimate. And the verb is to estimate. We're going to estimate the quantity. We're going to estimate the price. We're going to estimate how many people are coming. So it's different. I mentioned the ED, the live about ED. If you haven't seen it, it's on our YouTube channel, on Facebook. You guys can check it out. The word learned, the verb learned, the last syllable is pronounced N straight to the D, learned. But the adjective is an exception. You can say that someone is a learned person, a learned person, because they are very well read, very, very well read, and very, with a very high education. So you say, that is a learned gentleman. He has learned a lot through reading, for example. And now we have our last story, which was sent by a follower, someone that follows us. And he just said that instead of saying bowl for a bowl, a container, he said ball. It's very different, both the spelling and the pronunciation, but it's a very, very common mistake. On TV, every February, I keep hearing that NFL is having the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is going to happen on Sunday, and the Super Bowl players.
Oh, I hear that all the time too. Yeah.
Yeah. In Brazil, of course, the pronunciation that the Brazil media uses. So it's not Super Bowl. It's not ball, because American football, they think it's a ball. It's the Super Bowl. So the O is closed, like bowl, but the L is very present. It's not bowl. It's bowl. You say the L. And bowl is, the sound is more open. Ball, bowl. So I brought some sentences for you guys to see, you know.
But before that, can I share one more story that I received like a few minutes before we went live?
Sure.
So it's from someone who's here, by the way, but I'm not going to say who. Woo. So that
we said it was anonymous.
Was living abroad for like 3 months, and at one moment, you know, that get together and breaking the ice where everybody needs to introduce themselves and like tell your story for the others and share what your parents do. And then he was like, well, by that time, my father was already retired. So I shared to everyone, hey, my father is retarded. And everyone was like, come again, retarded. And then he was like, no, 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 I guess it's like retired. Oh, okay, so that mistake as well. I mean, I laughed so out loud because I was like,
I just keep wondering, like, what goes through the other people's heads, you know, when they hear that and they understand that. It's like, dude, this guy, what's with this guy? Why is he saying that? Like, okay, so I got some bowl sentences. I ate a bowl of cereal with milk.
no, please don't.
I broke my ball in 100 pieces at breakfast.
If it's a guy saying that,
My wife asked me to buy a rice ball and a flour ball and a coffee ball. And Fred Flintstone loves to bowl with Barney. Of course not, right? The right pronunciation is, I ate a bowl of cereal with milk. I broke my bowl in 100 pieces at breakfast. And my wife asked me to buy a rice bowl and a flour bowl and a coffee bowl. And Fred Flintstone loves to bowl with Barney, to play bowling with Barney, to bowl. So it is not the same way. The way to pronounce is different. Bang! I love that eraser. Okay, guys, so pretty much that was it that we had for you guys today. We really wanted to break the ice and share embarrassing stories. First, to welcome your mistakes too. We want to remind you that we want your comments, we want your DMs. We are open to you guys sending them in Portuguese if you don't feel comfortable with English. But this is a safe place. Our Instagram is a safe place. Our YouTube is a safe place. And we will always, whenever you guys want us, give you the feedback, correct you, tell you how to say it, why it's wrong, what is wrong and why it's wrong. So remember that this is a community, first and foremost. We are open for that. And also that, okay, mistakes happen. So let's learn from them. Follow the tips that we gave throughout the live. And we really hope that you guys can, Carol, so many mistakes. We really hope that you guys can evolve and grow from your mistakes, just like our friend MC and I also do on a daily basis. We are always learning and always improving. So you guys can feel, you know, we're all in the same boat.
I shared stories from last Friday, people. Last Friday.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys. We will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.